stories, legends,
lies, shenanigans,
recipes. I think. Did you get those, Brian? I
I've
remembered, I
got
don't think I
I've
saw.
got the various halves and halves thing. Oh shit, the recipes.
Yeah, all the info that was sent to us by that one person.
Yeah. No, I don't.
That's a no.
That is a
Okay.
no. That's correct. I'd forgotten
right.
about that.
Okay.
Were we going to recite the various cooking steps for making these things?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that would have been necessary. Maybe just say we have them, share them.
Okay. All right.
Stews and soda breads and
we can mention that. You want me to grab those? Let me see if I can.
It's not necessary.
I can make a note of what the recipes are if we wish to share them on.
We can just put a link in the podcast notes. So
all right.
Yeah, we have some Irish recipes that you can share. Good.
Catch what I can from work. Hey.
Yeah. We're about to cheers. Cheers to Steve and Pete and to Amanda.
Yeah.
Kettle Rock Brewing. So gonna be a good time. I enjoy the show. I like Irish beers and I don't drink a lot of them, but it's always fun to have an excuse to kind of focus there.
I drink almost all of my Irish beer every year within a very narrow window of time
frame of that. Yeah.
I like Guinness. And after the show last year, I did screw around with Black and Tans and other various half and halves for a short period of time afterward. I got the I think we have, we got a turtle around here somewhere for pouring over. I think it might be on top of the beer fridge, but I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, if we decide to get crazy with a little I think
this claims this brewery was established in 1702.
Yes.
All right. Sullivan's Brewing Company from Kilkenny, Ireland. This is a new beer to me.
It's also new to me. I hadn't seen this around, but
yeah,
they apparently have been around for a bit. I've got a little bit of information in the notes for them, but I don't know a lot about them, honestly. I didn't spend any time researching them.
So if it's a beer that comes from Ireland, does it just qualify automatically that it's a St. Patrick's Day beer? Doesn't matter.
I guess, yeah.
It's
Irish. We only get a select few anyway,
right?
So
yeah,
it's really an Irish, holiday. So Irish beer, right?
I wonder if they do any Irish wild ales, like something that is like Goose Lambic inspired over there.
I'll bet some breweries do.
I do know when we talked to that one brewery, the big one, Bay.
Oh, Galway Bay.
Galway. When we talked to Galway Brewing, they did say that sour beers were not cool there yet. It was not, and this was probably 3 years ago, I guess. And he was saying they were pretty on track with like American trends, but maybe 5 years behind. And he did say that sour beers were not popular. There wasn't many of them over there at that time.
So in that case, Brett beers must be hot right now.
Right. Give them 2 more years. And
I wonder what I really want to know is, what one thing that Ireland does do that people don't realize is they do like a single malt whiskey over there. They're I know at least a few of them. I know of the Irishman, which I've had a fair amount of, and I like it a lot. It's really well done.
I think we have some Irish whiskey in the stash, don't we?
We've got Jameson. I was just going to look over there to see if we had any Black Bush left. I think I was actually listening to last year's show, and I think you drank like a pint of Black Bush at the end of the show.
That doesn't sound like
no. I'm fairly certain.
No,
it distracted me while I was reading it. I'm like, did you just pour like 5 ounces of?
You did, yeah.
And I stopped in the middle of a news story. Like, did you just pour 5 ounces?
I poured
of
it like
Bush?
A beer.
Yeah.
Poured it like a beer.
Yeah.
It was good times. Yeah.
Why is the spoon for making a black and tan a turtle? I don't know.
I don't think that's standard though, is it?
Well, no,
Tyler, cheers, man. Hope everything's going well there.
Hello,
in
Tyler.
Texas.
I have no idea why. It's just another question I have that I've not answered yet. But
I've seen some that are just like a bent spoon.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen that
with
too.
The crook in it where you can rest it on the lip of the glass and do that. But we'll have to do. Did you get anything special specifically for black and tanning?
Not really.
Half and half.
Not really. We liked it last year. We've got Smithwick's and we've got Guinness, and those two together.
Is it Smithwick's?
The black Smithwick's, yes.
Is it Smithwick's, like no H?
You asked me that last time. I think it is. I think it's Smithwick's.
We still
Smithwick's.
A year's gone by and we still have not solved that mystery.
I know you don't pronounce.
It's just Smithwick's.
So we've got
Worcestershire.
We have
just like Worcester,
yeah, something like that. Okay. We have a lot of different Irish beer, and we with the volume of beer that we have for the show, we rarely get to all of them. So we've got ample opportunities to do black and tans, or some variation on black and tan.
Steve and Pete, you got any Irish beers on for Kettle Rock? Do you guys do a dry Irish stout or anything over there this year? We found when we were looking in the shops that the selection seemed to be a little bit lighter than it has in past years.
A lot lighter. I saw that. I don't. So what time of the year is this? I see a lot of Oktoberfest beers, but I don't see any dry Irish stouts.
And the thing is, I know a few of our local breweries did do them. We've got Three Taverns I think it's called Mary Mabel is their Irish dry stout. Jekyll does. I think it's Aaron Go Bra. That they do. Stillfire has, I think, a dry Irish stout and an Irish red.
I think that might be out
that
now.
They did.
I think that might actually be in distribution.
But we didn't find them at the store when we went. So
no. And I happen to know Three Taverns.
He's out already, man. That was poor timing. Poor timing. Steven ran out of it already.
I know that the Three Taverns, I think people might be trying to not do the seasonal creep as much with this holiday, because the Three Taverns one isn't ready yet. They're actually putting it in kegs on Friday, I think.
Okay, and they have a big parade on Saturday, because I know you and I were talking that we thought it was last Saturday, but it is actually
it's this Saturday, and we're still like a week out at this point from St. Patrick's Day proper. So yeah,
cool. All right, well, let's do some radio, Brian. How's that?
All right, fine.
Let's do it.
Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yeah, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Brian Hewitt.
Welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are broadcasting from the Beer Guys Radio Studios in beautiful Marietta, Georgia. And this is our St. Patrick's Day episode, Brian.
It's both of those things.
It is both of those things. There's lots to talk about outside of just the beer. We're going to have a good time with it, but there will be Irish beer involved. So I'm Tim Dennis. With me, as always, my good friend, co-host, Leprechaun, probably Brian Hewitt.
Hey, Tim. Unfortunately, there is no green Borg to celebrate the holiday as there should be, but
sad.
I missed out. I forgot.
We do have green on our shirts. We're wearing our Beer Guys shirts today, and our hop cone
hop cone is green, so technically we're in compliance.
Nate's not in compliance, though.
No, not at all.
We got to pinch him.
Yes, he will be pinched later. So we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to get into the facts, the lies, and the legends of St. Patrick's Day. We'll talk about the dry Irish stouts, things you can half and half with Guinness, and a whole lot more. It's the time of the year where we all get to pretend to be Irish, Tim.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all
fantastic
Irish right now. Speaking of the pension thing, Brian, you ever seen anything about what the origins of that is? Wear green or get pinched? That sounds like a drunk origin thing.
That sounds like something that was made up in school or something like that. Yeah, just kind of an excuse to haze people for any reason, because I didn't. That's where I was first made aware of it, where I was first exposed to it. It's like, oh, you didn't wear green, pinch. I'm like, oh, I hate this.
That's school thing. Thing. I haven't been pinched in a while, even if I don't wear green. So hopefully that's maybe we're too mature for that now. We're adults, Brian.
I don't even think a lot of places you can. It's kind of against the rules to even make contact with another person. We are very, very conscious and sensitive to the whole making contact with people.
Believe it or not, someone straight to jail.
Yeah. Yes. Honestly, maybe.
Yeah. Brian, one of my favorite drinks when it comes to St. Patrick's Day, Sunny Delight.
Of course.
I think everybody likes to start their day with Sunny Delight. You got the corned beef and cabbage.
Yes.
Later in the day, if you're American, you're going to have your corned beef and cabbage. So have a delightful sunny morning. Get started there. And
do you have it with whiskey, Irish whiskey?
I don't, but there is a new way, Brian,
there
to enjoy Sunny D.
There is.
Tell us about it.
All right. Yes. So if you've run out of Irish whiskey and you're first thing in the morning and you still want to get that little bit of a buzz, you can have Sunny D's new vodka seltzer that they came out with recently. It's going to be in select markets starting this weekend. So when you're hearing this, it will probably be in select Walmarts. 4.5% ABV, 95 calories, and 0 grams of added sugar. They will be in 12-ounce slim can 4-packs for $9.99 price. It's such an impressively valuable thing. It may be marked up all the way to $15 or $16.99 for a 4-pack. Who knows?
You know, we cover this just for the insanity of it, of seeing this go around Twitter and thinking there's no way there's a Sunny D seltzer coming out, but there is.
Yeah, I really thought it was a joke. I saw it. Yeah.
You know, when I saw that and they said lots of people have told us they like it as a mixer, I thought no one's ever said that. But but you know, people like the vodka and orange, you know, so that's just a screwdriver, right? Vodka orange juice. So maybe hey, I got some Sunny D here.
I was reading some of the promotional materials, the press releases about it, and they're like, we tried what was out there and we thought we can do better. I'm like, I don't think you did. I think everything about this is a lie. I'm like, hold on. A lot of people are making money by putting vodka in their existing drink.
Sure.
We need to do that
Absolutely,
too. That's exactly
we saw
what
an
this
opportunity to market something that people would buy just for the craziness of it. And the thing with this though is I think it's just going to be you're just crowding yourself in there.
Yeah.
And people are going to, you know what, Brian, we'll probably buy a 4-pack. We probably will because we like to try the silly stuff, but I doubt that we'll ever buy a second 4-pack.
Oh no. And the thing that people seem to be excited about, at least somebody I saw on Twitter, I wish I'd remember who it was, but they said this moves us ever closer to the inevitable end of having Capri Sun, hard Capri Sun in the little pouches with the straws. See, even you're excited about that.
I'm kind of on board for that. I'm kind of on board.
When does that happen?
We have the technology.
Yeah.
We can do this now. But Brian, more importantly, when we went on a hunt for Irish beers this year, it seemed to be a little thin on the shelves.
Yeah.
So we found a few, but typically look for your locals. That's always a good idea. A lot of local breweries do the dry Irish stouts or, an Irish red ale, something along those lines. And it may be one you can only get at your local tap room, but we typically, when we go out here, at least 3 or 4 either nationally distributed ones, but usually a lot of locals. That's one that I think just because of the short time into the holiday and all that, they don't flood a lot out there. But normally we have a few from local breweries. And we know, like from our locals this year, we know that there was 3 taverns they do one called Mary Mabel.
Yes.
We have Jekyll Brewing does Aaron Go Bra.
Correct.
And Stillfire, I don't know the exact names of them, but I believe they have a dry Irish stout and an Irish red ale.
I think it's a play on his last name, like O'Farrell's or McFarrell's or something like that. Yeah.
Phil Farrell being the brewer there. So, but anyhow, I think we just pretty much got, Brian, we kind of hit the macros this year.
We kind of
out
did.
Of necessity.
We did our best to find them, but I think that this is the one holiday where there isn't a tremendous amount of seasonal creep. I talked to the owner of 3 Taverns, and he says our dry Irish stout isn't ready yet. It's going into kegs. Yeah. Okay. By the time you hear this, it will be out there. But as we're talking right now, it's not. So it's not on the shelves.
We're too soon, Brian.
Yeah.
Hashtag too soon.
Too soon. That's right.
So Brian, I've got one more question for you here. That's something I noticed based on some chat on the internet this week. And I want to get your thoughts on this. Do you think the hype is gone from craft beer?
I think it depends on where you're at. I think there still are people that get hyped up about the hazies, the limited for certain breweries. They're still getting the big flats of the hazies and they're still trading, but I don't think it's as widespread as it once was. I think these are more niche places. There are Facebook groups and things like that where people are talking about these things. I don't see it. I don't see people getting in line. I don't see people getting very excited. The people who do talk about beer seem to be more casual about it. We've got an abundance of good options right now. So that's part of it. Rare beers are now what they call shelf turds. They sit on the shelf because people would rush out and buy them feverishly because, well, they're rare and it would be impossible to find again. Now you can get it anytime. Well, you don't need to run out and get that 6-pack of whatever if you don't have the space for it. You hold off until you need it. It'll be there.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it.
Brian, I will say that I said exactly what you just said on the discussion earlier today. And for a couple of years now, when I guess it would be around 6 years now, when we got direct sales in Georgia back in 2017, a lot of our local breweries started throwing out sometimes a couple new beer releases a week.
Yeah.
That was really exciting at the time because we were so excited to have it. And I mentioned at the time, I'm like, y'all, we're gonna end up numbing our senses here as far as craft beer goes. It's going to be less exciting. If that local brewery that is so hyped and everybody lines up because they have a special release every couple of months, if that special release is twice a week, it's no longer as exciting as it used to be. You'll just wait till next week on it.
I know one big brewery had that issue where people would make every release and they felt obligated to do it because they always had. And when it became twice a week or every other week,
I got a lot of grief. People told me there's no such thing as too much good beer. I get where they're coming from. It's great for the consumer because you can walk into your brewery or your bottle shop and pick up great beer.
Yes.
But for the industry, it does take some of the hype and excitement back a little bit when there's that much of it there. So I think kind of a product of our own growth. We know, just like you said, Brian, you can walk out and you can get you good beer. You don't have to go stand in line. You don't have to do this and that. There's ways to get it online now. So it's just kind of the climate has changed. I think people still love their beer. The hype level just isn't what it was because it's not necessary anymore.
We've totally burned out the pleasure centers of our brain. Now when we see beer, we're just like
overloaded. Beer. I'll just grab the next one.
Well, Tim, let's talk about the beers of the week.
Brian, good Irish beers that we've got here. So Guinness, you got to have a Guinness for St. Patrick's Day. You know, we are macroing it up here pretty good, Brian. So we'll have to admit it. We got Smithix or Smithix. Depending, the discussion continues on what the proper pronunciation is there. We have Harp. We do have one from Left Hand, the dry Irish Stout Nitro.
Yes.
That we'll get into. And a new one here in our area. Sullivan's, not a new brewery, but new to our area, or at least new to me as far as I know. The Irish Ale, Irish Red Ale, and the Irish Gold, which we're drinking now. We'll talk about those more in the next segment. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
I'm kind of enjoying this Sullivan's Irish Gold Ale.
Yeah.
Irish Gold Golden Ale. Is that what it says in the back of the can? That's a little redundant, isn't it? I'm not going to question it because it's pretty
Irish
tasty.
Golden Ale.
Yeah, it's pretty tasty.
This is pretty good, though. I dig it.
All right, yes.
There's a slight grassy hoppiness on the finish. It's some good toasty, light caramel, light butterscotch, maybe.
Yeah.
On the front end.
The butterscotchy. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit and toasties. Makes like a little bit of the bread crusty butterscotch. Yeah, it's kind of nice. I'm all right with that.
Tastier ale with a gentle bite. I think that kind of malts. Yeah. They printed this label real fuzzy, so I'm not sure. So malts,
I think they printed your eyeballs a little fuzzy.
Irish something. I see Vienna and Cara in there. Vienna and Cara malts. Hops. I think it says First Gold, Goldings, and Admiral, I think.
Oh, Admiral? Yeah. I was gonna
see if that's fuzzy for you too.
Let's say a tastier ale with a gentle bite. Malts, Irish ale, Vienna, and Cara. Hops, First Gold, Goldings, and Admiral. So I'm not familiar with First Gold. I've heard of Goldings, obviously, and Admiral, but I don't know First Gold.
Maybe some Irish hops that we just don't know about.
Yeah. Maybe they
Kettle Rock Brewing had Rocky Isle, which is our Irish stout. Okay, gotcha. That's from Stephen, Kettle Rock. Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong. The Cara, I believe that is for body and head retention. That they use the Cara malt.
Do they call it Cara or Cara pills?
There's
or something
Cara
like that?
Pills and Cara.
My homebrewing days are a little.
I think
bit
it's Cara Pills is what.
Yeah.
So that just must be the shortened version of it. But yeah, I think that's for your body and head retention.
Yes, it's retaining both my body and my head.
It's good that they're staying together, Brian.
Well.
That is the desired
doing
outcome
so
there.
well.
That is the desired outcome.
So it says up here, finished with First Gold aroma hops. So that's at the very end of the probably the boil edition, maybe Flame Out or something like that. Okay, you know what? It's just a good beer.
Finished. I mean, that could be a dry hop. That could be
dry hop. Yeah, you know what? If they're thinking finish the way people finish whiskeys on casks, that probably is a dry hop.
Yeah.
and that's it's an enjoyable beer. They've done a good job with this.
Cool. Good stuff.
Good job with that beer.
What are we moving on to? What's next? Are we going Irish Red, Sullivan's Red, or
we could go any direction we want with this. We could.
We've got so much.
We do.
Nate, what do we have freezer beers?
Are the freezer beers ready, or they need extra time for freezing?
Was this one that was just put in the fridge? Because I mean, it's serving time.
Oh, I brought this one from home. It was in my cooler. Yeah.
Oh, I thought they were in the stack.
No. I had these in the fridge at home, and brought them in a cooler. So they are
freezer beers should be getting close.
Properly chilled.
What you think there? So let's see.
Carapils or Carafoam?
Carafoam. That's what I was trying to remember. So.
Oh yeah, we could do heart. Oh yeah. How is that?
Carapils or Carafoam.
That cool enough for you?
Body and head retention. Get into some Smittix.
Yeah, we can do that. Let's okay, we've got several of those. So we can I really want to do the blacksmith. We did that last
year. We'll go ahead and get us a Guinness out here then too, Nate. We'll just get crazy with it. We will get jiggy with it.
We'll get you,
as they say. Someone says that. I'm sure of it.
Somebody has said that.
Somebody has. You know what I always forget, Brian? I have a bottle opener on my keychain from one of our favorite knife companies, Civivi.
Oh yeah.
And they do people that are knife collectors. Something that's popular now that I still haven't 100% figured out why it is popular, but little mini like pocket size chisels, like wedges.
They're good for opening cigar boxes.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you need. I also carry. I've loved these. I had one before this, but my current fallback bottle opener is a Kettle Rock Brewing bottle opener that I keep in my wallet. Yeah, it's like it's a credit card size one. I used to carry one of those around. I believe I lost that at a bottle share. The first one I had.
I believe that the turtle has a bottle opener in its mouth.
The turtle does have a bottle opener.
So let's see. I'm going to get this to the mic. Well, do you want to save this for the show so we can get the nitro hiss there?
We could. Yeah.
We will. Let's do that. Let's do that. So.
Oh, let me put that over near you then, because I guess you'll be doing that.
The lighter one goes on bottom, right? Then you float the Guinness?
You float the Guinness on top, yeah.
This isn't going to work.
Oh, do we have an actual
glass,
pint glass?
This would be a great way to pour beer all over the table.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, if you're really worried about getting beer in your glass and like, do not get beer in this glass, you put that on top of it, and that's if you want to take a shot of beer.
The dead turtle.
You know what? That would be great.
You can put a shot of whiskey
a shot of whiskey in there. You flip it over right before
anybody look, because we could do something like this. You float your shot and then.
Except you dump it on the table. Oh, you sip right.
No, we could. Yeah, I think we need to get.
Oh, look at that! All right.
Yeah. Okay.
We got the pints.
We got stupid ideas now. Look at that. That fits the pint better.
Yeah, it is designed for a pint. This is typically a pint. We may need 2 of the Smittix and 2 of the Guinnesses.
The turtle looks like he's getting violated though. Look at he looks. Yeah,
it's true. Yeah.
All right.
He's got the face of excitement. All right. Well, I'm gonna pour some of the Smittix now so I can sip on it, and then use the turtle. Open them up with a turtle. It's a matter of like it's half and half.
Yeah. Half and half and half. All right.
Get that. You let that get ready to receive the Guinness.
Nate, what destination is that saying it can't post comments to? I think we've looked at that before. Down there at the bottom. Okay, right there. Who's out? Facebook groups. LinkedIn,
they're all like non-streaming thing. Oh, Twitter.
It's all the ones we use are fine.
Except Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, it doesn't support the platform. I thought it was an issue that we had, but it just doesn't support the platform.
Oh, I got you.
It looks like we're good on everywhere else there.
Okay.
So, all right.
You can at least view the live stream on Twitter. Maybe not. We can't do the chat thing there, I guess. But
so sorry if you're making comments on Twitter. We can't. I guess we'd see him. We just can't reply to him.
And even if we don't, I'll be on Twitter probably later tonight looking at see if there's
chime
anything
in.
that happens. So
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Nate, let's do it.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Now, back to the Beer Guys radio show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys radio show. Remember, all episodes are available on demand. So if you missed the broadcast, get the podcast. Beer Guys Radio is available on all popular and unpopular podcasting apps. Now let's get back to the Irish Beer Show.
Irish beers, Brian. We're going to open some here. So let me get this down by the mic and see if let's see if I can get this.
I'm listening. Oh yeah,
That's
I think
quite a bit
I
of
heard
noise
it.
there, huh?
I hope everybody else did too.
So that's a nitro can, a little Guinness nitro can. So we'll get that opened up. We also have some Smittix here, red ale, and we're going to make what they call a blacksmith.
A blacksmith.
We'll get into that.
Yes.
So you know what? Quit putting your glass at me because I'm going to take this before I share with you. So don't
I was just going to say,
getting up in my face like that.
I was going to say that you'd want to. Oh, you've got yours ready. Okay, never mind.
So here, I'll give me your glass. I'll blacksmith you. But why I get your beer ready, Brian? Interesting news this year. So St. Patrick's Day falls on a Friday.
Correct.
It's during Lent.
Yes.
That causes a bit of problems for Catholics.
It
or at
does.
least some of them.
Apparently, yes. And I'm not on based on what the news is telling me here. So, yes, meat on Friday, typically a no-no. It turns out in some places of the country, it's okay. The Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston says that local Catholics can eat meat on Friday, despite it being during Lent, but you will need to do an extra act of charity or penance in exchange for doing so. So there's a little bit of a caveat there. The Diocese of Buffalo gives you permission, if you're a Catholic, to eat meat on Friday, but you will have to pick a different day to abstain from eating meat to make up for it. So the Archdiocese of Chicago is not letting anybody. They're not granting the permission to do it. So if you're in Chicago, you can't. This made me go around looking on the internet to find out, well, so where can you do this? Somebody put together a map. It's a really interesting map. It's like a weird voting map or something like that.
Northeast and Northwest are all like, let's do it.
A lot of the Midwest is oddly like opposed to it. Like some of these places are probably big meat eating places. So maybe, I don't know if they take Lent more seriously or if because meat is such a big deal, they're like, this is more of something you give up for Lent. I don't know. It's kind of, it's weird that these different regions, even in states, have different rules about what you can do this Friday.
Do you know, for the areas that are allowing it, why they're allowing it?
No, I don't.
Okay.
That's it. That's never been made clear. It's just, I think it's a judgment call on the part of whoever's calling the shots locally.
Since it's kind of the way of the world, I'm not Catholic, so I'm going to give my opinion on how the Catholics should behave.
Yeah.
If it's during Lent and you're not supposed to eat meat, because my reason asking what it was, is it to honor St. Patrick, which I don't think it is. I don't think St. Patrick cares what you eat on St. Patrick.
Oh, the giving up of the giving up of meat?
The eating of the meat.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Giving people permission to eat meat. So my 2 cents is tough it out, y'all. Have you some corned beef and cabbage on Saturday. Go to your fish fry, do your thing. But I mean, do you really need a special pass to eat meat one Friday?
That's a fair point.
Is it now? Catholics,
it's traditional.
If any Catholics listen to this, and I've got it wrong because it is more important than that, let me know. Let me know.
Now, it is a traditional thing. I believe that they eat the Irish bacon, which we discussed at length last year. I was listening to our show. We talked about bacon a lot last year.
A lot of bacon talk?
Oh,
okay.
yeah. A lot of, but eating Irish bacon and cabbage together is very much a tradition. So it may be a matter of the importance of tradition overriding the importance of what, the sacrifice of giving up something you enjoy or whatever.
Okay.
That comes along with Lent. So, but I didn't see a reason for it. I don't know why some bishops are saying, yeah, you can, and others are saying you can't. The ones that the kind of more level-headed ones seem to be saying, hey, you can do this, but you need to make up for it in other ways. So
yeah,
I guess if that's part of your religious faith, I mean, it makes sense.
I know that they can get religion in general can get a little flexible with the way things are behaved. It's like, yeah, we'll do this, but
I'm a little surprised the Pope just doesn't say something. It's like, hey, you either can or you can't.
Right.
But
yeah.
I mean, I guess that's in the whole hierarchy of that faith. That's just a matter he is not concerned with, I guess. I don't know.
But in reality, do what you want. You're an adult. Most of you just do what you want there.
Just pray a little extra hard after you do it.
Say a little prayer. But yeah, you know what? People can do what they want. I just thought it was interesting with the falling on Friday there that it was important to get the meat.
I think it's just interesting that a religion will kind of bend a bit to satisfy the secular enjoyment of the people involved. But you know what? Churches aren't terribly popular these days. I think they have to do a little giving to keep people in them.
But if you're serious about your faith enough to do Lent, and I'll be honest, I do know a lot of people who observe Lent that really they just look forward to Friday fish fries. So, I mean, there's places. We've got a buddy, Dan, that lives in Ohio. Dan's not even religious. He just takes advantage of the church fish fries on Friday. But up there's podcasts about where to get the best fish fries. You know, there's maps on the churches and schedules with who's doing the fish fries. So, I mean, that sounds like a good one to enjoy. Have your fish on Friday with some beer, have your Guinness and fish and chips, and then fire up the crock pot for some corned beef and cabbage, or maybe some bacon and cabbage, or an Irish stew.
That evening, cook it overnight or something like that.
Yeah, it's good to go.
I like the idea of a fish fry. I'm going to keep an eye out and see if there's any out there that I need to, because I don't think I've ever been to a Lent fish fry thing before. I don't believe.
But Brian, they're flexible because St. Patrick being such a huge saint for Ireland and celebrating him, all that dude wasn't even Irish, Brian.
No, I don't think he was. Based on St. Patrick, he lived during the 5th century. So this has been a religious holiday for over 1,000 years in Ireland, which is insane. It's so long ago. 5th century, probably born in 390. He was kidnapped. He wasn't from Ireland, so he was kidnapped by pirates and brought to Ireland as a slave at the age of 16. He escaped and left the island, but then he went back at a certain point in time. He's credited with bringing Christianity to Ireland. According to legend, he did this by using the Irish clover to explain the Holy Trinity to locals. He is believed to have died around the age of 70 on March 17th, 491, hence the March 17th situation with the holiday. So
I got to admit, the 3-leaf clover and Trinity thing, that's pretty smart. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's a clever thing. Now, what does he do with the 4-leaf clover? What's that 4th leaf?
You don't. That I actually think that was something I'd heard, is that the 4-leaf clover is not as uncommon as some people think, and that the more significant one, because of the use of the Trinity and all of that, is the 3-leaf. So
yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. So yeah, 1,000 years, 390 to 461. And we still have parades. We do all this stuff. We drink all these beers. We do all this partying for a guy that's man, he hasn't seen the light of day in a long time.
1,500 years or better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Seriously, that's interesting. So it's been a holiday for 1,000 years, but he's been gone for 1,500 years. So what happened between those 500 years?
Yeah,
why did it suddenly become a holiday?
Here. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they found some ancient text, Brian.
Could be. You know what? People become saints. Again, I'm not a Catholic, but I understand that people go back and review the activity of people and say, well, they performed X number of miracles or things that were decided to be miracles.
They get canonized or what have you.
Yeah. Pope will say, well, now he's a saint.
Boom, saint.
I think, he's St. Patrick. So
yes,
maybe he was made as
a saint. I believe that is a fair assumption.
It took me a second. I had to look at the holiday's name again to confirm it. But maybe 500 years later, it became a saint.
It's not Patrick's Day, right?
Yeah, it's not Pat. That'd be
fun. I'm down.
You know what? We would probably still party just as hard.
We would.
Patrick's
we would.
Day. Yeah.
But Brian, there's some discrepancy, it seems, on where the first parades, because this used to be a strictly religious holiday, and it was only recently that it became kind of the secular celebration it is, right?
Yeah, it is pretty recent. So the information, the parades are a little bit little sketchy, but apparently in 1848, several New York Irish aid societies got together. They unified a bunch of parades they were doing into one official New York City St. Patrick's Day parade. I know that there's also been parades for a long period of time in Chicago, Philadelphia, Savannah. The one in New York has like 3 million people that line up to see it. The other ones in those other cities, between 10,000 and 20,000 participants each. It's hard to say. I think I had notes on some other places, but they've been going on for a long time.
Some say it started in 1600s in a Spanish colony. Some say the first one in a major American city was in 1772. It's all over the place, Brian.
Yeah.
Who knows with these parades? You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We need to take a break, but we'll be right back. Man, I could go for a big old bowl of Irish stew and some soda bread.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Little,
or a fish
little
fry.
Sharp cheddar. Yeah, or the fish fry.
Fish fry. I mean, I'd be fine with that too. You know what? I say that, and I got to organize my notes. I got the celebrations kind of all mixed up. The other one, the Savannah
you're
one,
a few kicker points there. So
yeah, the Savannah one may have been actually older than the 1848 one, but the New York one is credited as being the first, but Savannah also says they were the first, and they were at 1813.
But your note said that the first one was in March of 1601 in a Spanish colony in what is now St. Augustine, Florida.
Oh, do I have that somewhere?
You do?
Oh, I really need to revamp.
That's why I
notes.
wondered. I was like, man, he's skipping 280 years here in his story. So
is that in the misconceptions and trivia section?
No, sir. It's right. Where was the first St. Patrick's Day parade? I guess it is. I mean, it's in the parade section, Brian.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Okay, my bad. Again, I need to organize my notes better.
Hey, Amanda.
Hey.
Are you drinking some Irish beers?
Yes. Are you drinking half and half, or a black and tan?
Black and tan, a black Smith,
or maybe some Borg.
She's working, so maybe.
Well, it depends on where she's working, because she was
Amanda. I know like you were a Jekyll
and From the Earth, some other places. Okay. I don't know where she's working now.
So it could be beer related.
It could be,
which means probably can have a drink. Have you a drink?
Yeah.
A full beer. I don't pour a full beer often in the studio, but
yeah,
it's, you know what? It's not, we went, Johnny McCracken's. We'll have to remember them because they do. Yeah, I'm sure you've been to McCracken's, right, Nate? Have we ever went? Yeah. The lot of us. So we haven't been. That used to be a pretty regular stop. So that's a good Irish dive bar in Marietta.
Oh yeah,
on the square in Marietta, Georgia, and we used to go a good bit because we were both more into smoking cigars. I know you still are.
Yeah.
Get one when you can. But at one point they had a section where you could smoke cigars inside of the bar. They had a jukebox full of punk and Irish punk and Celtic music in that. The food there is good. I mean, the food is really good for
the corned beef and cabbage. Isn't that Alton Brown's recipe?
Alton Brown, because Alton Brown is from Marietta.
Yeah, I think it's his recipe. And that's always been awesome. And I love getting that anytime I go.
Yeah.
There.
They do an Irish quesadilla that, if I remember right, it's like corned beef, cheddar, sauerkraut, and I think some Thousand Island in there maybe. But that's stellar. But yeah, good pint of Guinness, some corned beef and cabbage. You probably don't do corned beef and cabbage, huh? Can you corn chicken?
Corn chicken? Probably. Isn't corning, there's no actual corn involved in corning, right? The same way there's
corned beef, like it's finished. They eat corn for like 30 days before they go to slaughter, and that's where corned beef came from, is they corn the beef and then you season it.
You probably could.
I thought it was all a brine, and for whatever reason they called it corn, but it was like they soak it. Because I was interested at one point, it was a pandemic thing. I was interested in everything you could do with fermenting and stuff like that. I was going to look into making your own corned beef, and I think you had to soak the meat for like 24 hours in a certain brine to achieve the desired end results. And I'm like, I need to do this. I never did.
No, next time you try corned beef, look for that like sweet corn flavor in there, because that's like the diet, like the entire last month before it goes to slaughter is sweet corn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. No, that's a lie. You dirty liar.
Yeah. I don't know why it's called corn. But I know it's you brine it, you pack it in seasonings,
I don't know. I don't know why either, but I was 100%
from the earth. Yeah.
I was fairly certain that you were lying.
Amanda, have you eaten at Basque yet? Because I have to get over to that. So everybody knows what I'm talking about. From the Earth, the owner just opened a very nice steakhouse right next door, literally next door to From the Earth, called Basque. And we haven't made it over there yet, but we need to get over there and check it out.
The food at From the Earth
a good steak.
Is awesome. Is that Alpharetta? No, that's Roswell. That's Roswell, Georgia, for anybody who's watching from not in the area.
I remember talking to Tim when he was doing the wine list for Basque, and he had went to the what's the valley? The Sonoma Valley. But he was talking about going out and trying all these wines to put a nice list together. And it's one of those things. It's work. You get to consider it work because you're looking for the wines there for your restaurant. But he was just going around traveling, sipping wine.
How would you do that for beer? Well, I want to find the bill. Let me go to the something valley.
Yeah.
They
go to Belgium.
Belgium. Oh yeah.
What is the valley? What is
the Seine Valley? I went to the Seine Valley.
No, the one I can't remember it. Like the area where the Peyhoten land.
Yeah, Seine Valley is that area. Okay. Yeah, I went to the Seine Valley to put together a fancy beer list.
Yeah,
that would probably all be wild sour. You know what? They probably have new breweries there, and there would be some interesting craft selections too.
I went to the Vallée du Walmart to get my 4-pack of Guinness.
No, to get your Sunny D.
Yeah, standing in the aisle eating them craft singles, going what the hell is that guy doing?
You know what? I think they wouldn't care as long as you pay for the packet on the way out. As a kid, this is weird, but occasionally parents would just let us open something and we eat it and we just pay for it on the way out. Would be either all gone or mostly gone. But nobody seemed to give a crap about it as long as you paid for it.
There used to be times I can remember, especially like a drink, having a drink in there and then just paying for that. But you don't see that as much anymore. People get more serious about that. I've told you this story before. What's that, Nate?
I'm gonna say I did that once. My mom accused me of shoplifting.
Of course. See, he was beaten for that, locked in a cage,
viciously.
Casually,
viciously beaten.
It was a friendly beating, but
friendly.
Maybe 5-6 years ago, I went down to a little place called Cedar Key, Florida. Some friends recommended that for kind of an off the grid vacation. And it's not a touristy town. It's kind of in the elbow of the panhandle to the peninsula. And it's a mussel farming and little fishing town. And one of their claims to fame is smoked mullet dip. And some people may know this. If you're a clam chowder fan, like hardcore clam chowder fan, there's a place there called Tony's. 4 or 5 years in a row, they won the World Chowder Championships as the best New England style clam chowder in the world. And that's in Cedar Key. But anyhow, we went down there, and Tony's Chowder is great, by the way. So we enjoyed that. But there's a little place down there called Black Dog Bar and Tables in the very tiny, I guess it would be downtown or boardwalk area of Cedar Key. And it is a cigar and craft beer bar. And so we went there and we did all our drinking and hanging out and smoking cigars. And we go to leave and the owner comes by, or we got our tab and I go inside to pay. And the owner's like, "Hey, you ready to check?" I was like, "Yeah." So he takes my tab. He's like, "All right, it's X." I think it was like $83 or something like that. And I handed him my credit card. And he puts both these hands up and he says, "All right, here's the deal." He's like, "We don't take credit cards." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Hold on." And I could gather the cash up. I didn't have a lot. I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "But," and he takes one of his business cards and flips it over and writes the total on it. He's like, "Enjoy your visit. Have a good time with your friends and family. When you get back home," he's like, "just mail me a check." And that was it, man. Dude was going to let me sit there and smoke his cigars and drink his beer, and just writing the total on the back of a business card. He was comfortable with that. So
that is now an old man story because the exact opposite happens. I've pulled out my wallet a few times, ready to pay for something with actual greenback currency. Like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. We don't accept cash." I'm like, "Yeah, the hell you say. The hell you say," is my response every time.
So this joint, Brian, cigars, beer, and cash.
I love this
sounds
place.
like your kind of place,
I
man.
love this place. Do they do any like woodworking at all? I mean, because
they might.
I might have to move there.
Yeah, super cool little joint. They had the inside was very eclectic, and they had like a barber chair in the center of the floor that you could sit
They
in.
were eclectic,
Eclectic,
like full of eggs everywhere, like all kinds of different eggs.
Eclectic, Brian, just everywhere.
Right.
And then the back had like an L-shaped patio that was right on the water there, so you could sit there on the, what? It wasn't like a pretty beach; it was like rocky, but you're on the water, and it's cool.
Yeah, beaches don't gotta be pretty.
Shout out to my friend Cal Alvarez, who I haven't seen in a while, but he drove up from Orlando and hung out with us that weekend.
You might be listening.
We went fishing. We got drunk. We ate a lot of smoked mullet dip, so chowder, beer. It's a good trip, Brian.
It sounds great.
I was happy to share that story with you.
I've heard it before. It only occurred to me this time that it's an old man story because nobody's cash only anymore.
So many places are going cashless now. Bring your cards.
These days, if you want to use your cash, you have to engage in crime. I'm like, that's the only people that's a cash only business anymore.
Time to start selling Coke.
I guess so. I'm just going to be down on the corner doing my thing.
That's it. What are you selling?
Doesn't matter. That's cash. It's a cash business.
Become one of those dudes that sells bottled water and Gatorade in the center console of the road.
Oh yeah, Atlanta. It's a cash only business. I respect that now. It's like you guys accept cash, man. I have a lot of.
They probably got Venmo and stuff.
Because I haven't been able to use cash in so long. I'm like, I don't even know what to do this paper anymore.
I had a friend of mine owed me some money. I asked him to Venmo or PayPal me, and this dude always gives me cash, Nate. I just can't get. I'm like, dude, I don't carry cash. Venmo me. And
sounds like a good dude.
Gave me $120. That was the beginning of November, and I still have some of that cash. That's how infrequently I use it. Is what's that? 6 months now? 6 months. So,
I admire a dude that'll pay $120 in cash.
Money.
That's a cool guy.
He's a dork.
I bet you that guy is the coolest guy you've ever met.
Got a stupid beard.
Oh, even better. He really sounds like a cool guy.
All right, let's do this. Where are you starting, Brian? Where you want me to? Where we want to roll with this?
I think we've kind of covered the
Leprechauns.
Backgrounds. We could go.
I don't like the order your notes are in. I feel like the topics don't flow. I disapprove of this.
Yeah, it's.
But since I didn't do any work, Nate, I can't complain too much.
Well, I need to revamp it. A lot of this was repurposed from previous shows, and I need to work on the order. We can get into. If you'd like, we can either.
The Guinness Book is Guinness Book of World Records, right? You just put Guinness Book of Records, like it's a registrar or something.
Oh yeah, it lower down in the point. We can just get into the misconceptions, and I could.
Okay.
Yeah.
You. All right. That sounds good. All right, Nate, we're ready. Let's do this.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
What in tarnation?
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our great radio affiliates, W Extra 106.3 FM in Marietta, Georgia. Every Saturday at 4 p.m. Now let's get back to the Irish Beer Show.
Brian, we don't have a new beer this segment because we poured full pints of our Smittix and Guinness, our blacksmiths. So we're still working on those.
Correct.
I'm throwing out a lot of sibilants right now.
A lot of sibilants.
Be careful with that. But Brian, there's a lot of misconceptions about St. Patrick's Day. Just straight up lies, misconception. Tell us a little bit about what people misunderstand about SPD.
So I've got a fun list of a lot of interesting things, and we covered one of them, that the parade that's actually 1601. Some people are saying that it happened in St. Augustine, Florida originally. So that's an interesting thing. But the other thing, the big one that people don't realize is St. Patrick wasn't Irish. There's almost no chance he was. As I mentioned,
we totally talked about that in depth already.
Oh yeah, did we? Okay. Well, did we talk about him being born in the Roman occupied British Isles, perhaps?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think he was kidnapped and brought there as a slave.
Okay. I didn't say that he was possibly Italian.
You didn't. That part you
Okay.
didn't say.
All right. Well,
should we kind of mentally reset this?
We could.
Yeah.
Should we do that?
Should we just restart the whole segment?
Let's do that.
Okay,
yeah,
we're going to
do that.
This is fun. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll just get it started again. We got to just do every segment with that. Did you know St. Patrick was not actually? And I'll just act surprised every time.
What?
You throw another, just tell the same story a different way.
I had no idea.
Just slur a little bit, each segment a little bit more.
Yeah.
The last thing we're like, Tim, dude, check this out. Did you know? Did you know?
Yeah. He's a whole
St. Patrick, not even Irish.
Not even Scandinavian. I mean Irish.
What?
Pour 5 ounces of Jameson and then put Guinness on top.
Yeah. Start lying about it.
Let's make Irish Borg. It's Guinness with a bunch of Jameson in it, like to the point where anyway.
Guinness and Jameson.
Yeah, just mix the two.
I don't
it's
think
just
that's
Irish Borg, right?
Isn't
it?
I don't think so.
Well, we could empty out that gallon jug and pour both of them into that. I think we can make this happen.
We could do an Infinity Borg. Just add to it.
Infinity Borg, just adding more stuff to it. Are we restarting? I think we're restarting because we just went completely off the rails.
Ready?
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
What in tarnation?
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our great radio affiliates, Extra 106.3 FM in Marietta, Georgia. Catch Beer Guys Radio and Extra 106.3 every Saturday at 4 p.m. Now let's get back to the St. Patrick's Day show.
The St. Patrick's Day show, Brian, there's so much about St. Patrick's Day, what he did, like you shared with us about him bringing Christianity to Ireland.
Correct.
And not even being Irish in the origin. But Brian, you know what I like to talk about?
Yes.
I like to talk about beer.
I do too.
So, and there are a few styles that are known for that. And I think no matter where you go, no matter what you do, Guinness really says Ireland, right?
It does, yes.
So Guinness is a dry Irish stout, probably
Correct.
the most famous dry Irish. But what is a dry Irish stout?
So a dry Irish stout, you know it obviously from Guinness, Murphy's, Beamish, that sort of thing, or a variety.
Or your local
craft brewery is doing one. They should be lower in ABV. We're looking at 4 to 5%. They might be a little higher up for the craft local ones. They might bump it up a bit, but the stuff out there in the market's 4 to 5% typically. Lighter in body, but dark in color. So people will see a dark beer and think, "Oh my gosh, that's a strong beer." It's not. It's actually. Guinness is pretty crushable for the color. You would not expect how crushable it is. And I forget not having one for a while, going back and drinking it. It's like, this goes down so easy.
There are
so easy
light beers that have more calories in a pint than a Guinness does.
There's a ton of them.
So that's, people think Guinness and think a dark beer is boozier, more caloric, and that not the case, Brian.
Not at all. It should, in terms of flavor, it should be kind of roasty, have notes of coffee and chocolate, and it doesn't need to be in any way bitter or astringent. It should be, like a lot of people like to say about beer, it should be fairly smooth, like with these interesting notes to them. So Guinness, of course, being the one we all really know and love with dry Irish stouts, they started making that back in 1759 and exporting the first batches of that about 10 years later. So it's the most popular dry Irish stout in the world. It basically is synonymous with the holiday. It's brewed in 50 countries, and it might even be a few years old. I'll bet it's even higher now than it was.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So St. James Gate Brewery in Dublin, Ireland has had over 20 million visitors since it opened in 2000. I was one of those visitors. And
fancy.
I don't know which visitor I was, but
you're not even from Ireland.
No, I'm not at all. And I was not hijacked by pirates and taken there. I went there of my own accord.
That would be kind of cool if you were hijacked pirate. We're going to the brewery. Like, okay.
All right, fine. It would have been cheaper had the pirates, taken me there on their vessel. Would have taken longer and probably wouldn't have enjoyed the accommodations as much. So Diageo now owns Guinness. It's a behemoth. It's kind of a conglomeration of some other London-based businesses. Guinness gets its signature tang, and I think it's unique to Guinness by blending, or formerly by blending, an older portion of their beer, aged beer. And so it got a little bit of a sour tang to it with the newer beer, and then canning or bottling that up or putting that on draft. I don't know if they still do that. Every time I've tried to look into it, there's no real answers.
Can't find the info.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and I suspect that they probably found a way of improving that process so it doesn't involve aging beer, because that's inefficient, honestly. And they have a lot of beer to make. The widget in the can of Guinness was invented by them in 1988, Tim. So
88, huh? Okay.
Prior to that, all the Guinness you would have ever had was probably that export stuff, a little stronger and not nearly as carbonated.
No nitro,
just
there.
CO2. Yeah, no
not
nitro.
Carbonated, nitrogenated.
Yeah, not nitrogenated. Yes,
Yeah,
not
so,
nitrogenated.
And for those, I think, we get some new folks that listen to our show that are just learning about craft beer. So, nitrogen as compared to just CO2 for the carbonation, going to give you lighter, creamier. If you've seen a Guinness pour, they pour it, they let it set, you get the cascade there.
Yes.
The soft, silky bubbles cascading down through there. They'll set and top it off again with that. And it gives you a pretty firm, creamy head on the beer. So that's one of the lovely things with nitro beers, as they say. So
I believe part of the reason they don't use nitro for more things is it's just more difficult to keep it in solution. I think a lot more of it escapes. And so over time, it will wind up being flatter than your average CO2 beer. But speaking of the smaller bubbles, if you have a good craft beer or a good any beer, the smaller the CO2 bubbles are in it, typically the better and more enjoyable it will be. It will have creamier body,
creamier,
so
silky.
The actual the size of the gas bubbles does play a tremendous role in the perceived quality of the beer.
And we have a couple devices here, Brian, that mimic somewhat that. And actually work. I'm forgetting the name of
physics,
it now,
right? It was
the
physics
machine, but it takes it and uses vibrations.
Like sonic, or is it just vibration?
I don't remember, but I think it's sonic vibrations. Good vibrations, Brian.
Only the good vibrations.
But it actually works. It does a pretty decent job of simulating a nitro pour. So you get the creamier, the softer. And if you try a few different beers with that style, some don't work well. It mutes the flavors to where they're not as good. Others, it amplifies the flavors you're looking for. But we had a lot of fun kind of playing with that and, seeing what was going on. And, speaking of Guinness, we have talked to a couple of Irish craft brewers, and, everybody's got their opinions on macros. Where we prefer our craft beer, Brian, we're probably not as hardline as we were on the macros as we were a few years ago, because we know brewers that have sold to the macro breweries. We know the reasons why they did that. We still don't go seeking out macro brews, but people are still very opinionated on that. A lot of Americans, especially, and they talk about it like with these Irish craft breweries. You go into any Irish pub there's going to be a Guinness. A lot of most of the time. And we talked to the craft brewers about, why don't you just serve your beer? Because the brewers there can own their pubs as well. And they said, if you don't have Guinness on tap in an Irish bar, you don't have a bar. It's like, it's just that simple. If you don't serve Guinness, you'll go out of business. So it's kind of ubiquitous there.
Well, think about it. Would you go into an Irish pub anywhere in the US and if they didn't have Guinness? I mean, if you go into it, wouldn't you want to order a Guinness? I guess if you were like, I'm in the middle of nowhere and there's an Irish pub, and
I would be surprised.
Yeah,
I would be surprised to go into an Irish bar and like, let me get a pint of Guinness. So like, we don't have Guinness. I'd be pretty taken aback. Now, the difference being is if I went to a brewery that said they specialize in being an Irish brewery, of course I would be very shocked if they didn't have a dry Irish nitro stout.
True. And I've been to a number of Irish pubs around the U.S. where you go in, this is definitely more of a party zone, and they'll have various frozen shots and things like that. They do still have the Guinness. They do have the bare requirement for being an Irish pub.
Yeah, right.
But I've been some places where I'm like, they probably sell a lot more vodka out of here than they sell Guinness.
Like, can I get you a Fireball or a Jaeger shot to go with your Guinness?
Trays of them and
Jaeger
special
shot with the Guinness wouldn't be bad. That would actually,
you know what? It probably not. We could make it happen. Do we?
I think we've
got
Jaeger.
one in somewhere around here.
But Brian, Guinness again is probably the most well known. People definitely have their preferences, Brian, for some of the others. Like Murphy's is one that a lot of people love. We'll find out here in a minute. I think we did a taste test last year.
We did.
And I don't recall, so it'll be fun to see if opinions stay the same on which ones we like. But Murphy's, tell us a little bit about Murphy's.
So Murphy's was founded in Cork, Ireland in 1856 by James J. Murphy. By 1906, it was Ireland's second largest brewery after Guinness, purchased by Heineken. So it's a Heineken beer in 1983, brewed to be less bitter than Guinness, variously described as nutty, coffee-like, or even toffee-ish. And I do happen to remember from last year, it was a split house on who likes Guinness versus Murphy's more. And I believe I've always been on the side of Murphy's in that situation, but I do have a soft spot in my heart for Guinness. The brewery changed its name to Heineken Brewery Ireland and produces Murphy's and Heineken products in the Irish market. So there's no longer just a Murphy's brewery anymore.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
it's a Heineken situation.
And then the newbie for us this year, Brian, Sullivan's has a dry Irish stout, correct?
Yeah, correct. And we don't actually have that one here. We've got the red. We've got the red and the golden.
The red and the gold.
I didn't see it in our market, which is interesting. But this is an interesting story. I don't know anything about them. Apparently, they were founded in 1702 in Kilkenny County, Ireland. And the family lost the brewery in a bet in the early 1900s. As a horse race, I think. That's fun. It's now brewed. They got it back at some point. They didn't get the full scoop on it, but it's now brewed in Kilkenny, Dublin, and Dublin, Ireland, I guess, and Buffalo, New York. So I think part of the reason we have it here is probably because it's brewed in Buffalo, New York.
What fun, Brian.
Yes.
Good stuff. All right. Well, you are listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're going to break out some more stouts. Have a good time. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. You know, I was saying earlier I could go for some like stew and bread and that. I think I realized I'm just hungry because I'm like, I could go for some tacos. I could go for some pizza. I'm just hungry.
We should have a guy deliver pizza on the air.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, a plowman sounds pretty good right now. Like I'd tear up a plowman's platter, you know, sauce, pickles, bread.
I think a plowman sounds good. Yeah.
Plowman's.
Those overalls. Oh, we're talking about something else. Never mind. Right. No.
A plowman. I was a plowman.
Cross to something. Yeah. You know what? I don't think we have Murphy's this year. I may have lied and said we had Murphy's and we don't. I don't. Do we have it? No, I don't.
Of a bitch.
I may have an old can at home, but I don't believe we actually have one.
You have disappointed me for the against time.
But I do remember what we thought of it because I don't think we'll be able to try it.
I was Guinness, you were Murphy's, right?
We were both Murphy's.
Okay.
Adam Silverberg, who was here for that show, he liked Guinness and Nate liked Guinness. So it was split house. That's what I remembered. And I had to listen to the show because I wasn't 100% sure. I knew I originally liked it before that show, but having tasted them side by side, I wasn't sure. And it turns out Murphy's kind of my jam. I like that one. Beamish is another one out there that I don't even have in my notes.
So do we want to get the left hand? Do we want to get the left hand in so we have an American craft?
We should
throw in the mix?
We should definitely do that.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So all right, Nate, present the left hand. I saw
the left hand.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Thank you. One of my YouTube chefs that I like to watch, Brian Lagerstrom is the dude's name. And I dig his stuff. And he did I'm hungry because I'm talking about this. He did what he called the Sloppy Joseph.
Sloppy Joseph. A more formal version of the Sloppy Joe.
So he he took he took the ground beef and added, I think it was some baking soda to it, which he said helps with the protein bonding and makes it juicier and better. But he made the seasoning, the Sloppy Joe seasoning himself, reduced it down, used a toasted brioche bun and all that. I'm like, man, that looks like a crazy good Sloppy Joe. I would tear that. Even the crappy manwich can stuff, I still dig that, man. I'll eat a manwich.
I haven't
had one of those in years.
Yeah, I haven't had a Sloppy Joe in a really long time.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I wasn't as big a fan of them. They always were.
Shut your mouth.
There was always something like oddly tart about them that I didn't care for. And now I don't know what off-brand garbage I had as a broke child.
Great value.
Yeah. Oh, the stuff was not good. I did not care for it. I'm like, there's a weird twang, tang, something to this that I don't care for. I did not like it as a kid.
So Sloppy Joe is not a brand name, but your stuff was so off-brand. It was like Untidy James.
Yeah.
It's like, what is this?
Skid Row Bob.
Right.
Like, this is not even close.
Like
this is not even close.
There's a hypodermic needle in this. So.
That's part of the flavor.
What about? Yeah, I need to make another
loose
batch
meat
of those.
sandwiches are the bomb.
Yeah, haven't done those in quite a while. Do you know? Have we talked loose meat sandwiches? You know about those? Yeah.
Do we have enough time for me to run over and use the restroom? Yeah. All right. All
We'll
right.
make time for you.
It'll make it easier. I won't be bouncing as much.
They need to pee.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
I'll be back momentarily. That's the problem with pouring an entire pint. Okay. All right. Fine.
Brian's gonna give us a dissertation. Do I have time? Sure. All right. Let me give my monologue first. Right. I kind of wish I just poured the Guinness, Nate, instead of the Guinness and Smittix. I think I would have rather just hit the Guinness here.
But then you would have missed out on the experience.
Yeah, I don't know that I care about that right now, actually.
I'm gonna get that, but this is the Irish Beer Show.
Mo Mike Nate. There's a Garth Brooks song, Nate. And I think it's just called The Dance. You familiar with this one?
I don't listen to a whole lot of country music.
Okay. Garth is one I allow. Like I like Garth and some Clint Black, Dwight Yoakam, George Strait, because I have professed quite a lot that I don't like country music, but I like those guys.
There's a difference between like country music and country music that came out after 2000.
Even the country music fans say that, Nate. Like they're like modern country is just a lot of people just think it's a tragedy. That it's just, my fish, my truck, my can of beer. It's just not, and like Garth in this song, The Dance, I think it was about lost love, maybe.
Okay.
Our lives are better left to chance.
Yeah.
I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance kind of thing, talking about, hey, yeah, I could have avoided being hurt by not going there, but I missed all the good stuff that got to that point. Coming back to my beer, I'd have been happy missing the dance on this one.
I hear you on that.
I'd have been fine with that. But yeah, outside of that, though, I'm kind of like Brian. I don't get a lot of Irish beers except around SPD there. And I do like to go out. Johnny McCracken's, the food there is good. Now that I remembered it, we'll probably try to get over that way.
Well, and you can still smoke a cigar on the back patio, like their beer garden area.
It was nice because the way they were like an old firehouse. And so it's sectioned off where you had a section like there was a couch and some board games and books and a popcorn machine in the corner and the divey bar that, you may have to place orders for 3 different craft beers on the menu before you found one that was there. You could always get you a pint of Guinness and PBR. They always had PBR and that, but
I can assure you you still have to order like 3 or 4 rounds of craft beers to get the one that's in stock.
But I love that. The corned beef and cabbage. What else? I think everything we really tried there that was good. But I think,
are we talking about
Johnny McCracken's? But I think every time I went, because it was unique, I think I usually got something corned beefish.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've ever had their burger or anything because the corned beef was just too good.
Yeah. I mean,
the Reuben that I got, I think it was last year. Well, seriously, the best Reuben I've had in my life.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's high praise. High praise indeed.
Good, man, it was good.
Yeah, indeed.
You feel better?
Oh, I do. Yes.
Ready to rock?
So
now?
much more refreshed. What do we drink? Oh, we could do go in left hand.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
That's the sizzle. They got the sizzle there.
Maybe I should have waited. Oh well.
Nitro sizzle. Are you supposed to let those rest or pop and pour? I think right.
I think you need to pour them immediately because you're losing any kind of cascade you'd be getting out of it.
And I believe you're supposed to pour hard. You're soft pouring there.
You're right.
I think you're supposed to invert the can.
They had a whole.
Let's see.
Left hand had a whole campaign about pour hard, like down the center of the glass. And
see, I think you killed it because I didn't get. I think you.
My bad.
Let's see here. And I think you want to do it like quick, like you open it and go.
And dump it immediately. Yeah. That's so their Nitro Stout, I think, is they had a whole ad campaign about I think it's Milk Stout Nitro. It's like pour hard. There you go. You got it. Yeah. I got a small amount of it, but I mean mine cleared up really quick.
But look at my head already looks better than yours. It's that tighter, creamier My head.
Your head
My
is
head's tight and creamy, Brian.
I was gonna say something about it, but
tight and creamy.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Well, sir.
I actually don't know where to go with that. No, sir, I don't like it.
Ooh, this smells good.
Does
All
it does
right,
indeed.
Let's see. It's fine.
It's pretty good.
pretty
Chocolatey. It's chocolatey.
Mhm.
It's yeah.
I think I'd still give the nod to Guinness, but I wouldn't be mad getting a pint of this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Coffee. Coffee's gonna come.
I
Or a
might
little, like,
favor
mocha.
Yeah.
this
Okay.
might I'd have to try a Guinness that didn't have a bunch of Smithwick's in it side by side with it to be verified, but I might like this more.
Tobacco.
Ooh.
Cigar, specifically cigar tobacco.
That's
See,
fine.
now you're just selling me on it.
That's why
now at this
coffee
point
and tobacco and in the chocolate mocha. All right, left hand.
Yes.
Not tobacco.
Not tobacco. Okay, what?
Ash. And not in a bad way.
Oh, ash and not
Like a cigar ash, mocha coffee. What do you think? Are you on board with me? A little ashy?
okay.
You
maybe
see what I'm saying
yeah.
there? Kind of that essence of that, but not in a bad way, like I said. All right. This is tasty.
Maybe kind of an herbal, or not an herbal, but a mineral quality to it.
But I'm cool with
Yeah,
that.
it's.
All right.
I mean, it's good. Here's the thing. It really depends. Guinness is weird. I've had Guinness that was amazing, and I've had Guinness that was just okay, and I don't know why that would be. Like Guinness,
right.
there's a little bit of variation in Guinness.
Can we speed run a few more of the misconceptions in that, Brian?
Oh yeah,
Like no more than say like 2 minutes, and then we'll talk about like the black and tans and half mixes.
yeah, we could do that.
Why don't we set you up for that to say?
I'll skip over to the. Let's see.
There's River Dine that we may want to mention, and then any other tidbits about the holiday, and then we'll talk about the various. Excuse me. Wow.
So I can
The various variants.
skip some of those. I don't really care about the ones below that. Corned beef. Thought I had another
Do you
thing
get
in here
ash in
about.
that? Am I making up stupid stuff?
So when I look for it, I think I taste what you're talking about. Like there's a certain kind of a minerality, and there is kind of a bit of a tobacco note to it, and like maybe
It's kind of yeah. I'm sticking with that. I'm gonna stand by that, Brian.
How often do you lick an ashtray, Tim?
It's none of your business.
All right. I'm sorry I asked. I didn't want to overstep my bounds. Let's see.
Yet you did.
Yeah,
All right.
Here, I was lying. I always want to
I
overstep my bounds,
That's
honestly.
fine. That's fine.
Where did I see that?
Nate.
Yeah, I gotta clean these notes up and make them a little bit better. But yeah, we can get into what a black and tan is and some of the variants. Yeah.
All right. We are ready. We are ready for this, Nate.
Oh, I heard a bing bong bing thing. What happened?
It said our camera was unplugged.
Oh no.
Can you get the settings? I don't know. I think it's a wireless connection, so I don't know why it would be. It's got you. It just totally dropped that one.
Oh
See it?
yeah, it's you gotta switch over the cam.
It's not even there. Nate, just unplug it, plug it back in, try and make it reboot there. That didn't power it off, so that may not make a difference.
It's a local power.
What's that?
It's local power because I have to just physically turn it on.
Yeah, just what's that say?
It's still connected on the iPad. You want me to turn the camera physically off and back on again?
Yeah, but I don't know if that'll make a difference in there. Try that. I mean, that's the only thing I could think. Well, I think we'd have to stop the live stream to get anything fixed.
Is it still putting out our audio? Because we can just tell people like, hey, sorry with the video. We can go finish it out with audio.
Yeah. I think it is. It just said, see what we get when Nate reboots and see if that brings it back in here. And if not, we'll just finish out with audio. You know what? We've been having those drops and stutters, and it may just be that damn camera is shit the bed.
Oh, yeah. Could be. The camera might be.
Wait, is our audio still going across right now?
It might be.
When we put up the
we did, but we didn't put up the thing.
There we go.
Oh, is it back? Okay. Well, we weren't part of the stream. So
there we go.
Okay. I guess we're back.
I didn't think our mic was playing because when you put up the thing saying, okay, Rich said got audio but no visual. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry,
guys. Trash talking there because I didn't think our mics were playing. Yeah, but
camera for
that's just an overlay, but it doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, our camera just cut out on us. So hopefully we're back and ready to party now. All right.
That was fun.
We'll do it live.
This has been a great show.
Yes.
Let's drink some Borg.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. Patrons get cool perks like Beer Guys swag and commercial-free episodes. Now let's get back to the St. Patrick's Day show.
Yes, Brian, we're going to talk about a beer we're drinking right now. We have, you were mistaken. We didn't have Murphy's.
We don't. I'm sorry.
We don't have the Murphy's Dry Irish Stout, but we have opened the left-hand Dry Irish Stout Nitro. And something that we had a discussion on, Brian, we want to tell folks how to pour this because it's a little different than your other beers. So
indeed,
if you have a nitro can, you want to pop that can and fully invert it 180 degrees. Pour it hard into your glass. And that's going to give you the closest to like a true nitro pour there. Like I've got mine. Brian, I'm going to tell on you, you didn't pour yours properly.
I didn't.
You opened it and you poured it slow like you would any other beer.
Force a habit.
Yeah. We opened another can, took it straight up. Nate and I have pours out of that. And our glasses here right now, Nate and I both have a full, thick, rich head of creamy brown foam. And yours looks slightly dissipated like any other beer would, correct?
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah.
Right.
You have
Brian,
a much richer, creamier head than mine.
Let me see yours, Brian. I'm gonna prompt you to share some info with us here, and I'm gonna try to see if I notice a difference in this. But while I'm doing another sample, why don't you tell us what you think of this beer and what you get out of it?
So I really enjoy this beer. It's very close to being as good to me as Guinness, and I'm on the cusp. I really like the nice coffee notes, a lot of like mocha-y chocolatey-ness to it, tobacco-y notes to it. There's a minerality to it. I think Tim, you were describing as potentially like cigar ash,
almost
like a
cigar
good way.
Ash in a good way.
Yeah,
right.
Which is
odd, right?
Which is an odd
weird
thing to say. It's like didn't somebody talk about a tasting note where something tasted like river stones, and I'm like, what?
I think they even went as far as saying wet, like wet river stones. Yeah. As opposed to dry stones, because no one likes those.
Yeah, that's revolting.
Yeah,
but wet river stones, oh, the finest.
Yeah.
So, what did you think? You did
Brian, I dig that. So, I do think mine has a little more mouthfeel. I think the flavors are coming across pretty similar there, Brian. I think mine does have a little creamier mouthfeel to it, but not substantially. Definitely a noticeable difference, in my opinion. So,
it definitely does.
But I think the flavors presented, we're getting that rich, roasty coffee ash. I gotta say it again.
Yeah.
I hate saying that, but tobacco,
I get it more out of yours than
quality
mine.
Tobacco ash is what I would say, but in a great way. And overall, this is really nice, man. It actually delivered more than I expected from it. Comparing it to the Guinness, I still dig Guinness, and I'd be hard pressed to say I like this better. This is a little different. It's very enjoyable.
It's actually a lot different now that I'm tasting too. It's really hard to compare the two. It's amazing that they're the same style. And tasting yours, I'm like, if you've ever dropped a really good cigar in an ashtray and got a little bit of the cigar dusting on the end of it, and you take another hit off of it, and you're like, got that in your mouth. It's like it's a tasty cigar, but also there's some ash there. It's not completely revolting, but
puff you about half a cigar and then snub it out in your glass. Boom. You're exactly. You'll love it.
That sounds like old timey hobo thing. They always had the old cigars, and they put anyway. Yeah.
Well, Brian, we wanted to talk a little bit more. In the simplest terms, folks know the black and tan.
Correct.
Is I believe it's Harp, Guinness and Harp for a black and tan, correct?
Yeah, that's the no, sorry. That's a half and half.
Sorry.
The traditional is Guinness and Bass Ale.
Guinness and Bass. Okay.
Guinness and Harp is technically referred to as a half and half, but some people also call it a black and tan the same way. A lot of these kind of have loosey-goosey rules with the names. There's not a body that is enforcing the naming of these, so it's kind of up to you. But
because I had heard one called a snake bite,
yes,
which I was told was Guinness and cider.
It's lager and cider.
Yeah, so
but I believe specifically Harp, but it may be any lager and a cider.
But there's a lot more than just the snake bite and the half and half, right?
Oh yeah. There's a ton of these, but I've got to say that this whole idea of like a traditional half. It's traditional in that it's been a tradition in the United States. It's a creation here. This is not really an Irish thing. This is an Irish American thing.
Yeah.
And maybe not even Irish American. And one thing about these, before I get into some of the variations on them, people think that these are actually boozier beverages because you're mixing the two. You're really just averaging the ABVs of them. So I think that's
not like you're adding whiskey there.
Exactly. Well, you could.
Yes.
You could. But then you'd still be averaging the ABVs.
Your dreams be dreams.
Yeah. Put Irish whiskey halfway up on the pint in the bottom, and then pour Guinness on top of it.
Yeah.
So that would be less than just a regular whiskey, a pint of whiskey.
It would,
but it'd be more than your standard Guinness. Yeah. So that's
the seltzer you were talking about earlier, right?
I believe so.
Your whiskey and your Guinness a little bit.
So as I mentioned, the half and half is a Guinness and Harp lager. We may have one later because we do have some Harp here. A black and blue, which is probably the second most common or third most common one I ever see mentioned anywhere. A black and blue is a Blue Moon and a Guinness. So
okay,
yeah,
okay,
it's kind of a wit and a Guinness. It's really popular for some reason. We've got a black and a brown, which is Newcastle Brown Ale, top with Guinness. Black and gold, which is Guinness and a Magners or another cider.
I didn't like that. I remember disliking that.
Yeah.
I really didn't care for Magners in general, but I know that I didn't care for the combination of the two.
Yeah. In the black and gold, I got to point out the Guinness and a cider is not a snake bite. That frequently is called a snake bite for some reason.
All right.
Lager and cider, as we pointed out. Black Velvet, Guinness and champagne. I still need to try this. Yeah. I want to try this very much. We had this earlier. No, we didn't. I'm sorry. We had a Blacksmith. Black and red is another red ale. Killian's Red with Guinness. Alternately, a raspberry lambic top with Guinness or a chocolate stout is also called a black and red. That sounds great.
Or a Creek.
Yeah.
It may not be called. Yeah, a Creek or a Framboise.
If you got one of the ones that, especially if you got ones a little bit of back sweetened on it, like if they were super funky,
aren't they the ones?
Yeah, Lindemans. Yeah, that would be good. There's such a thing as a black and orange, which would be a stout, a Guinness, and a pumpkin ale. So I
hate that idea.
Yeah,
go on. Let's move along.
You know what? If you like like the concept of like a chocolate pumpkin pie or any beers that have been done in that vein, you might enjoy that. The Irish American / AKA the Black and Trash, which is Guinness and Miller or Bud.
Okay.
We got a black tire, which
Can you use Coors.
You know what? I bet we could
use the BMC.
You mentioned PBR earlier, and I was thinking, you know what? Or Ice House or something like that. Busch Light. I'm guessing all of those would qualify as a Black and Trash. Black Tire, which has changed since the last time we talked about that. That was Guinness and Fat Tire. New Belgium's Fat Tire. It'll be different, but I guess it would still be a black tire because Fat Tire, they changed the recipe, but they didn't change the name of the beer. So One I've got to try. I'm still on my to-do list. Black 8 or the Black 8 Ball, which is Guinness and Old English 800.
Yes.
We got the Irishman in Texas, aka the Black and Bock, which is Guinness and Shinerbach. I think we might have tried this. I'm not 100% sure. I think we did. We have also got Ginling, which is also known as the Pennsylvania Tan or the Philadelphia Black and Tan. It's the Guinness over Yingling, and there are so many other variants.
So many others. Do what you want.
And
right?
the thing is a lot of these variants have more to do with like coming up with a clever name than they have to, like, is this a good combination of beers? It's just like, what kind of outrageous stuff can we come up with?
Look, I know you've been a Borg head lately, Brian.
Yeah.
Have you tried a Black and Borg?
I haven't tried a Black and Borg. Do you have a name for that yet?
I literally just gave it
Black
to
and
you.
Just Black and Borg. Oh, I thought you were going to give it something beyond that.
No,
well,
I
Black and Borg
think
would be
that
good.
one's got a nice.
Well, we've got some.
What do they call that with the intonation? Is that the right word I'm looking for? Black and Borg.
Borg.
You got the bees there.
Oh, alliteration. You've got that going for you.
There
That's okay. So that's nice. We do have one that's a fruit punch one. Maybe I'll try that later. See if I can float Guinness over top of it.
Sounds disgusting. Let's do it.
I know it does.
Yeah.
It sounds awful.
So, Brian, there's just a lot you can do with St. Patrick's Day. A lot of stuff to get up on the 50-50s that you mentioned. Black and tan, enjoy that. Get you some corned beef or a stew or whatever. But yeah, it's a good time. I enjoy it, man. I like celebrating these holidays. I don't like going out into the masses because, to be a little arrogant, I consider these amateur hour holidays.
They can be.
So there are people that drink way too much, get stupid, and they use it. Oh my gosh, I'm Irish, this and that. Cinco de Mayo is another one. Yeah. It's another amateur hour kind of thing. So I love getting a Mexican lager and some tacos, hang out with my friends, go somewhere that's not so insane. I love corned beef and cabbage and, a dry Irish style. I'm actually thinking about making me some stew with Guinness, man, because that's good stuff.
One thing I discovered this year, an interesting fun fact about the Green Rivers, specifically the one in Chicago. You know that the dye they use in the green to make the river green is actually orange. I found that out this year. It's an orange powder. It's an orange powder they put in the river that turns the river green.
I'm trying to think what that means for the river. That doesn't sound good. That
It's
you use an
supposed to
orange
not-
powder to dye the river green.
It's supposed to not be a bad thing. It's proprietary. There was I found it out, and there's like very closely held secret. They don't tell you how it works, just that it goes in orange and it turns the river green.
Wow.
How is that possible? And people were talking about it. They said that all the people that are actually involved in dying, because people watch this happen, they're all stained orange. Like even their eyeballs are stained orange because of the powder. Like it's scary.
It's awful.
It does, right?
Terrible. But they do a lot of other rivers as well around the country.
Yeah.
So get the green. Brian, that wraps it up for our St. Patrick's Day episode. Next week, Brian, good fun. We are going to a homebrew competition.
Oh, yeah.
The largest one in Georgia, and we're going to talk homebrewing. We're going to talk homebrew competition. So for more craft beer info, you really should follow us online.
Yes.
We are Beer Guys Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in to the St. Patrick's Day episode. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Cheers. Clear.
Exciting show as always.
Exciting Irish beers.
A little bit disorganized and full of mayhem and things like that.
Crazy.
Shenanigans.
And we'll chop it up, and the podcast listeners will be none the wiser.
That's right. They'll never know.
They'll never know
They'll
Brian
never have
is
any
as
idea.
big of a moron as he is. So,
oh, come on.
You're right.
It was
They'll
brilliant.
know.
Oh, damn it.
Sorry.
Damn it. No, that's not what I meant at all.
Well, man, I'm glad we've got our Irish beers here a little early, but I am looking forward to the schnacks, all the good stuff there. But yeah, butter, yeah, Brian.
Butter,
yeah. Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in for the stream. We appreciate it. We're not going to be here next week because we're actually going to the homebrew competition. So we will not have a live studio session next Wednesday, but we are back the following week. And I forget who we're talking to then. We do have someone joining us, I think.
Yes.
Unless it's the following week after that.
It's one of those weeks. Well, I mean, we'll definitely be here the week after, but
a show on Colorado beer.
Yes.
And they've got a collaboration fest and a Colorado beer day coming up. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to have a Colorado brewer on. We're going to have someone from the Colorado Brewers Guild join us. So it'll be all about Colorado beer.
So it's either 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now.
Correct.
Yes. It's one
Somewhere
of those
in there.
two. Yes.
One of those. Yeah.
And then something will happen in whichever week it isn't. Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
That is correct.
Something will
Y'all,
happen.
thanks so much. Have a good one. We will see you soon.